culture and accountability, we are now going towards the most important facet of business, which is finance and valuation. I would now request, please, Mr. SK to come onto the stage and share his thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. SK.
Good afternoon, everybody. I must first compliment the organizers for having organized such a beautiful program, and I think I'm very happy that SME has been chosen as the topic, because for the last 2 decades or so I've been chairing a public sector bank in India, and I've been extraordinarily supportive of SME, and I've always wondered why SME has not received the attention that it should receive. Further, there are not many topics in this world which are common to all countries. You take climate change, probably it could be common, but it could have a different impact. But SME is one thing which is common across the world. The challenges and the problems and the opportunities are identical to all the countries. Therefore, it's truly a global topic. So again, extremely happy for being there for this. I'm also put through my experiences and my own views on it. Some of it, because of my passion, could have been a little more extreme on its views. I certainly look forward to some suggestions from you, but also very interactive sessions, so you could stop me at any point and talk to me. Sorry. About small and medium enterprises, play on positives, financing to play on positions, addressing concerns, and key SME valuation challenges, closing thoughts. The topic given was valuation and financing and valuation. Any financing goes with valuation, and they are intertwined together. Therefore, I'm mixing both issues and talking about it. Now, obviously, I thought I would just summarize the advantages and this and my views on it. Low cost of operations, agile and responsive, ability to innovate, high value-added efficiency and flexibility to adopt the customer needs, and inadequate risk capital, limited management bandwidth, constraints in geographical reach, and lack of systems and processes, weaknesses in marketing, or probably you can call them as weaknesses. But I believe that every large industry should be asked to mentor at least 100 SMEs. I'm saying, depending on the size, we should ensure that every large industry mentors SMEs. Like typically in the automobile industry, you will find there are component manufacturers as SMEs around the industry. In India, back in India, we have very large corporates like Tata's, like ITC, who all mentor a lot of SMEs. That's one of the ways of ensuring the advantages of the SMEs are reaped, and also the SMEs are supported. And particularly SMEs have come from family-based business, because family-based businesses, training becomes automatic. It is imbibed in their blood. Therefore, SMEs are very good family businesses too. And with proper training, eluding simple solutions are easily within the reach of the people. And then I just thought we should also make a distinction between the startups and the SMEs. The SMEs are born out of entrepreneurial passion, addresses the unique requirements of a business, inadequate risk capital, may not be working on a scalable business model, and slow growth. Whereas in a startup, is raising capital, risk capital is provided, work on scalable business ideas, and starts may or may not be an SME, and then play on positives. The OECD principles which have been laid for SMEs are really eye-opener for us. Particularly, they encourage timely payments in commercial transactions, encourage timely payments in commercial transactions in public procurement, and design public programs for SME financial to ensure additionality. The last one is very important. Monitor and evaluate public programs to enhance SME finance. There are several government programs which have come, but I'm not sure whether there have been any monitoring of that to see whether the desired benefits actually reach the SME. There are several programs across the world, in several countries we have, but I'm not sure whether there has been a monitoring of that to see that these benefits actually reach people. And financing, of course, is the fulcrum. capital financing, working capital financing, and financing to face risk, or the three business finance that is needed, and various financing avenues and challenges. Why is that SMEs don't want debts? They want only debts and they don't want equity because they feel that there will be interference. Second, is asset financing an opportunity for SMEs rather than entity-based financing? Entity-based financing requires you to give security, requires you to give financial statements. Therefore, asset-based financing could be a great example. Again, I must refer to my own bank and India as a benchmarking point. Asset financing caught on in India in a big way. Like you could finance a tire, you could finance an engine of a lorry, you could finance a lorry itself, or you could finance the entity itself. So that's something which is very important. And factoring as part of financing for SMEs have failed because rating agencies are not there. You're not able to rate many of these instruments, therefore factoring has failed. And specialized capital markets for SMEs. Should we look at SME stock exchanges itself? I think a few countries have started looking at, and they have been working well. And this is what I discussed earlier, that the asset-based financing, operating lease versus financial lease, customer-provided assets. In fact, there is one brand which is called as Amul, which sells butter across the country, across India. They have started giving chilling equipments to people so that they are able to procure milk and keep it. Otherwise, milk was getting wasted. And they started giving customer gave the asset, typically like ice creams. You have coolers given by the companies, therefore the ice creams are able to sell. SMEs got benefit considerably because of this and address the concerns. Is there any credible SME rating mechanism? Is there funding requirements against promoter shares and convertible bond and crowdfunding? These are the ones which are really challenging for SMEs. And valuation challenges. No financing can go without valuation. The cost-benefit contributes. The problem is absence of benchmark. There is no benchmarking for valuation of SMEs. SME could be an idea, could be an entrepreneurial skill of somebody, but there is no benchmarking for you to do the valuation. If you can't do the valuation, you don't also get the finances for it. And then the next one is other challenges in valuation. Valuation challenges are the most important challenge in terms of the financing for the SMEs. It varies from probably formula-based principle to valuation is an art and not a science. And asset valuation is well developed for tangible assets. But intangible assets have not been valued. In fact, you have an accounting rule which says self-generated goodwill, self-generated assets cannot be valued, which actually works against the SME's interest. We should allow self-generated assets also to be valued, and little database available. Absence of an articulated business model. Somebody was also saying, do you have a business model? Absence of an articulated business model inhibits your valuation, therefore your financing becomes difficult. And valuer has, obviously valuer goes with comparable multiples. Inherent bias of the promoter. Normally you will find promoters will say, why do you need money? I just need to do something better. It is sameness is what inhibits valuations. And I wanted to leave these 3-4 thoughts before I conclude. One is, do you think accounting rules for SMEs, one size fits all, is that the right approach? Do you think SMEs should have a different accounting rules? One such example would be that should you allow valuation of intangible assets, which you don't allow in listed companies? Then can we customize and create an insurance product for protection of the investors? When I call investor, I call even banker as an investor. Bankers invest money. Bankers don't have a different logic for SME. They apply the same logic, same principle that you will apply for a large corporate to a small corporate. Smaller you are, higher would be the security value that they would expect. Should there be a separate method of financing for SMEs? Should there be a separate SME banking itself? Because SME is nothing but ideas and entrepreneurial skill. You cannot provide tangible security. Should there be a separate method by which we should do it? Then create an SME network exchange. While they've looked at stock exchanges, should there be, the biggest problem that the SMEs face is absence of global market. Now, I cannot have a network with an automobile component manufacturer in Dubai itself because he will become my competitor. Now, instead of that, if I have a network which I am able to establish with a person in Japan or in some other country where automobile is developed, would I be able to get technology much easier? What difference we make is multinational firms are different from multinational networking firms. Networking firms do give you an opportunity to share only ideas without having to have common financial and management control. Before I conclude, the last one would be that I think best for SME, the best innovator kindles entrepreneurship. I think across the world is the largest employer is the SMEs. In all the countries, they will be the largest employer. And the highest foreign exchange earner would be the SMEs, and large contribution to economic growth. Economies will grow only with SMEs. The larger, if you go to a bank, one person, one large corporation will take away the entire money, and SMEs will, the level of NPAs in SMEs would be far negligible in comparison to the corporate sector. Therefore, SME growth is absolutely essential for the economic growth of this country. Valuation and funding should be the top priority. I conclude with the statement that while big is beautiful, small is beneficial. And value it and fund it, smile all the way is what is what I said. Now I'll give a few minutes for your questions if you have. Thank you so much.
Question to you is regarding the valuation of SMEs. I work with a lot of SMEs in their early stages. So in the US, there's Dave Burkus, who's got a scoreboard that he uses to evaluate.
Sorry, can you come here? I'm not able to be clear.
Sorry, it's regarding SMEs and regarding the valuation of SMEs. Here in the UAE, there needs to be some kind of scoreboard where companies that are starting out need to have some kind of scoreboard that relates to their innovational idea, to the management team they have, and so on. But I'm just asking you, have you come across any scoreboards within India or the countries you've worked with? In the US, there is Dave Burkus, who has his specific valuation method, and there's also a scoreboard valuation method. But is there anything here in the Middle East or India at the moment?
Okay, I'll probably deal with that offline. Sorry. Okay.
They have the valuation system. In India or in UAE, there isn't any valuation system which gives a upper edge in terms of their USP. That is her question.
I would say that the valuation is between art and science.
That is a rating. Basically, valuation going towards rating. Means after valuation, it goes into the rating. How it is rated, like it's a top vendor, then it is a second vendor, that's the third vendor. Means you can
in terms of rating.
Yeah.
The problem is the valuation itself has not matured. Sometimes I find, particularly after the software industry has come, you always say a number between 0 to 10. And you ask the kid, and kid says 10, you go for the 10 times the multiple. I don't think it has been very scientific in terms of the valuation. Because the valuations themselves have not been appropriate. The valuation is not appropriate, your rating also can't be appropriate. That is why you will find the moment there is a problem in the industry, the rating agencies will come down and automatically reduce the rating, even though they have rated it only last month at A plus or A double plus. I think across the world, valuation, I would say the rules have not yet matured and there is a lot of subjectivity in it. I'll probably answer you a little later also during lunch. Last one. Yeah.
We are running short on time, so if you can make this very, very quick, this will be our last question.
Okay, sorry.
As you mentioned about the SME exchange, so I think so the SME exchange can play the role of rating exchange as well, and they can rate the SME specifications, requirements, and configurations. What do you think about it?
The problem with SME exchanges today is there is no benchmarking that is available today. Even in the OECD document, if you see it, there is not available benchmarking, there is no available database. But SME exchanges and SME networking exchanges, there are two. SME exchanges are financing, SME network exchanges are for getting technology and getting advantage over the networking. Both these exchanges will play a leading role over a period of time. They are yet to mature. Okay, can I close now?
Thank you so much. I know that we have more questions, but there will be opportunity for networking in the lunch. We'll have more breaks.
Thank you.
Afternoon. Thank you so much, Mr.